So guys, welcome. In this video I will sculpt a basic head while showing you the 10 mistakes, and I will also show them into the sculpt while I'm sculpting. Also, at some point I will show you my students' works, which are kind of beginner works, some intermediate, and I will show you the same mistakes in those works. So let's start doing it. Now, the first mistake, as we know, is... you don't know, but I will tell you. The first mistake is that the skull from above is not egg-shaped. What I mean by that is the skull from above should have this particular shape, like an egg. So the widest point is around just behind the ears, and then here in the front it has to be round and also narrower than the back. You see here it's not that prominent, but also you see here the forehead is here, and then this is wider in the back, and also we can see a skull which looks like this. You see? So narrower in the front, wider in the back. And when I'm sculpting, I always do that. I mean, this is one of the most common mistakes. That's why I'm putting it first. And also it's a super basic mistake. And this is mistake number one, of course. Mistake number two is kind of similar. I mean, it's connected to that, is that the head is shaped like a ball. So if we see a skull, this skull for example, you see it's not like a ball at all. It's more kind of a rectangular shape. Of course, this is a little bit of extreme example, but even if we see those skulls, this is more like a ball, but still it has some kind of a flattening on the top. Especially from the front view, you see it's shaped like a house roof a little bit on the top. And this one, you can see the forehead, then a flat portion on the top, and then a flat portion in the back. So it's not exactly a ball shape. You have to be very careful about the shape of the skull, because those are basic things. And also, of course, connected to this mistake is, it's not in the list, but sometimes people are making very big or very small top of the head. So this is also a little bit of this. But this is mistake number two. So mistake number three is the nose. It's about the nose. So I haven't get to the nose, but the nose from the profile view starts from the middle of, from the end of the face. What I mean is by, for example, here, oops, not this. In her case, the nose will be like this, and then the mouth will be here. You see, people are making the nostril here, not inside the face like this. So this is the third mistake, of course. And now I will have to sculpt a little bit and talk again about the first three mistakes. So first mistake, the most important one, is to make the front of the head not kind of narrow enough. So from the top it has to be slightly egg-shaped. I mean, don't overdo it, because otherwise if you overdo it from the front view, your head will become something like this, which is kind of an alien shaped. It's not good. So that's why just do it normally. Let's do some ears, just basic ears for now, but we are very, fast working here. So basic ears, and we continue with the head. So I will make this narrower, and let's make fast. I usually don't go so fast into the eyes and the nose, but in this case we have to talk about the nose mistake, so we have to go there. That's the point. Alright, now, yeah, you see I'm sculpting just casually, just making the beard here, the muzzle of the mouth, everything, and the nose is here. So, it's not very well-defined nose, but whatever. Okay. So if the nose starts from the end of the face like this, this is kind of a mistake. There are possibly cases that this could be true in the real world, but most of the time it's a mistake. So the fourth mistake is very common. I see it all the time. The nose is too narrow above the nostrils. What I mean by that is, let me just increase the polygons here, and what I mean by that is, I will show you right now. People are tend to do this. Wait. Okay. So the nose very narrow here, and then nostrils in the bottom, kind of a wide. So in this case, he will not be able to pick his nose, because he will pick his nose up to this point. He will not be able to push his finger further because it's too narrow. You shouldn't do that. I mean, there is a kind of a volume in here. It's not that narrow most of the time. Yeah, so be careful about this mistake. And we can see, of course, what I mean by that is, you see, this is a nice thing. Here you see some kind of a shadow, but it's not that narrow and then suddenly nostrils. It's slightly going like a pyramid shape. That's what we are doing here. This is a very good example of a very nice made head, by the way, as you probably will notice. So these are the two main nose mistakes that I've seen, but I'm not doing them, hopefully. Yes. Yeah, we are making kind of a nice nose. So the next mistake is connected with the neck. So the neck muscles are either super defined and they are left like this, which is not good, or they are not defined at all and you cannot see what's going on at all. That is the fifth mistake. I'm reading them from my Photoshop file here. So this is the fifth mistake. The neck muscles are either too defined and they look awkward, or they are not defined at all. You have to know about the sternocleidomastoid muscle and all the other stuff and make it and smooth it, and then make it a little bit and smooth it. Let's see how it is in this guy here. It's very nice. This image is a very good example of a very nice neck muscles with the Adam apple also. So if we want a younger person, we'll make a longer neck and so on. Now the sixth mistake is with the lips. So I will show you exactly what the fifth mistake is. The fifth mistake is this. You're making, just drawing the lips over the muzzle of the mouth. And most of the time you don't have even a proper muzzle of the mouth, and then you draw the lips and they become like this, duck lips. So this is a very, very common mistake. I will show you how to not do it. So you just have to dig with a thin brush, either dumb standard brush or a draw sharp brush, and then you will have something like a Hellboy. He's looking like a Hellboy now. But then with the grab or move brush, grab is in Blender, move is in ZBrush, I will just make the M shape of the top part. Then I will push this with, again, some thin brush. And then on the bottom of the mouth, I will just push it, especially on the sides, with something like clay strips brush. In this case is clay strips, in ZBrush is the same. Clay strips, I think. And then I will push again, and you see, very cool. Yeah, he has a little bit of this, but if I go with my grab brush and move everything back, also make a little bit of a jaw here, everything will come nicely together. Now, this was mistake number 6. Lips protruding too much from the face. So this is mistake number 6. Not enough volume around the corners of the mouth. Also, many people tend to not do this and then smooth a little bit. And you see, when you do this, it's kind of starting to look a little bit more nicely. So the corners of the mouth has to have volume over them. So from the back view a little bit, if you see, it's visible, this thing. So it's good to have. I mean, so do it. Don't not do it. Also, a lot of mistakes about the forehead and stuff, but we cannot talk about it now because this is not in the list. I will make another list probably at some point, but those are the most common and the most critical mistakes that I'm talking about right now. Because when you not make these mistakes, your model will look much more like a human than something else. Yeah, this is not very nice. Now I will have to fix my proportions a little bit. But when I do, it will start to look pretty cool. Hopefully. Yeah, the proportions are way off. Now they are a little bit better, but we have to be careful about the forehead here, not to make it too flat. I mean, again, super common mistake is to make the forehead very flat, and then your eyebrows ridges are kind of pronounced too much on the outer side, and even female characters looks like certain Russian boxers. I'm talking about Nikolai Valuev. If you research Nikolai Valuev in the internet, you will see that you don't want to make this kind of female characters. So let's do a little bit of ear. Because the eighth mistake is not enough developed ears. So people are underestimating the ears here. You need to do them. You need to spend time to do them. And not like 1 minute like I'm doing, but a little bit more time. A lot more time, basically. Let's see. Yeah, I'm doing it very fast, and this is because of experience. I can do it and it will kind of be okay. But for most people, you have to spend much more time. Don't look at my timing and stuff. I'm a professional artist, so for most people it will take a lot more time to do proper ears. And a lot of you know, references. References are the most important thing, as always. Also, what I do see a lot is this. I haven't included this in the mistakes, but this is a very common mistake. Just the part around the ear to be pronounced more. No, it's the opposite. You have to push it in. It has to be more inside like this. You see how I pushed it in and immediately it becomes a better model. Immediately. Not just like 2 days after. No, immediately. Right now. So, bear that in mind. The next mistake what I see often is too big eyeballs. So, if you make the eyeballs too big, then the whole upper part of your face will become bad. It will be damaged. So, yeah, I will not be able to show you that in this model, in this particular model, but I will show you in the models that I will show you just in a few minutes. For my students, some of my students, which will probably recognize their models here, it's not something that you have to be offended by, because this is for educational purposes, and of course you will know better next time. So, yeah. And now you see I'm not putting eyeballs, which is why. You will ask, but why, Nico? Why don't you put some eyeballs in? Why are you doing this from the model itself? From the mesh. Because of the speed. If I have to put eyeballs, it will be a little bit slower, but I maybe put one. I mean, one or two, we'll see. I need to fix the chin a little bit, it's too big. And the last mistake, which is not that problematic, but I still include it, is too thin eyelets. As you probably will see now, let me zoom in. You see how thick is his eyelets. So, if you are doing stuff from clay or from digital clay, you have to make the eyelets pretty thick. Even thicker than this guy had made them here. By the way, this guy is, of course you know, this is Conor McGregor, but the guy who made it is Bulgarian. He's a very nice, very good sculptor. He's a young guy, but he's a very good normal sculptor, not like us, kind of mad sculptor or whatever. He's a normal sculptor with clay. So I'm doing just a little bit of a fix here and there, just to, you know, define some shapes a little bit better. Nothing too fancy. By the way, if you don't know, I have a new channel, which is called Speedchar Live. And in there, I'm showing, it's mostly for lives. So I'm doing lives there from time to time in YouTube. So you can check it out, you can subscribe. And in this channel, you can also subscribe if you want. But for example, people, when they tell me in the video, subscribe, I never subscribe. If they don't tell me, sometimes I subscribe. So I will not tell you to subscribe, and you will know it by yourself. you will listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. Okay, so this is a decent head. Let's say it's a decent head. Let's do this. Let's say it's a decent head. It's not very round. It's not a bowl shape. It's kind of cool, I would say. It's not the best. It's not the worst. Again, the eyebrow maybe a little bit less. Yeah. See the shape of the head. Of course, it should be a little bit wider here and here, not so much. But something like this, I think it's good for the shape of the head. Egg-shaped. Alright. Maybe his head, the top of the head is a little bit too much. Yeah, it shouldn't be like this. Or even like this. A little bit less. More normal. Okay, so those are the 10 most common mistakes. I'm sorry that I don't make this video very dynamic with animations and with cutouts, but this is not my style. I'm doing the videos, everything is live and everything is just recorded, and you know, I do very little post-production things because I like things to be natural. That's why I prepare for those videos in advance a little bit more. But yeah. Okay, let's say it's done. Let's make a little bit more here and smooth it. Okay, this looks fine. Maybe he can have fuller upper lip. Okay. He does look a little bit strange. Maybe I will push his eyebrows down. And that's kind of okay. Okay, now let me show you the student works. And let's analyze each and every one of them. So, what mistakes do we see here? First mistake is head shaped like a ball. So the top shape of the head is like a ball. There is no real anything going on in the area of the forehead and the top. Of course, in the female head, there is not too much things here, too much bumps and stuff, but there are still. And also, this is too big, this part. Also, the nose is a little bit too small, but it's okay. The eyes are too separate from each other, which is not one of the mistakes. But the eye size, the size of the eyeball, I think it's kind of okay. The neck, though, it's too pronounced, and it's not exactly correct. So, especially on the female, don't make the neck muscle too pronounced in this position here. In the bottom, where it connects to the clavicle, yes, to the clavicle here. But otherwise, don't. So here, this head is not bad, but probably he shot it without perspective, and it looks very wide. And yeah, and the ears, you see the connection of the ears and the skull, which you don't see, because the head is making this kind of turn here, and you cannot see the beginning of the ears. You cannot see them in my head, you cannot see them in most heads. Let's see, by the way, if we can see them here. 85mm, okay, here of course you cannot see it because of the focal length. The focal length is important, but even with a very wide lens, almost no perspective here, you cannot see the beginning of the ear because the head is making a turn here a little bit backwards and the ears are there. You have to bear that in mind. So, let's see another. So this one has few of our mistakes. Probably the head is not X-shaped, we don't know that, but obviously as we see the forehead is too flat. So maybe it's, you know, it's too wide also, and it's too wide because the eyeballs are way too big, which is okay for some stylized characters, but you have to be able to fit it. Now it doesn't fit very well. And the nostrils are too pronounced, and the nose above the nostrils is too thin. So this is mistake number 4 in our list. Other mistakes, the lips are a little bit like a duck shape, so mistake number 6. Mistake number 1 and 2 probably are there, but we don't see it from the hair. The neck muscles are not too bad, so this is okay. So here We see mistake number 6, lips protruding too much from the face and making this kind of shape because there is no meat around them. You know, the lips are not this. Even in female, you have to be careful. The eyeballs look a little bit too big maybe, but not too much. The ears are undeveloped. Let's see here. We cannot see well, but they look like they have done some work on the ears, which is good. Here the forehead is pretty flat, and it's, yeah, you see how big here is this position here, which is not good, and the ears undeveloped. The neck muscles are almost non-existent, which is also kind of a mistake. Here we see that the nose is starting from the end of the face almost, but the mouth is kind of well shaped. Of course, the chin is a little bit too big and too pointy, but whatever. So here we see classical protruding lips like this. Yes, there are many girls like this, but they are putting silicone. This doesn't look real. I mean, this doesn't look fine, for me at least. For many people, probably this is a beauty standard nowadays. I just don't like it. The eyeball seems okay, but we see that the head is most likely not egg-shaped from the top, because the forehead is almost as wide as the back of the head. There is no gradation that much. There is just a little bit and then forehead. So that's one of the things. And also the nose is okay from the side view. It's a little bit too long probably and a little bit too wide, but this is not one of the mistakes. And the neck muscles are relatively okay. I did here on the bottom a little bit of paint over, but it's not good. Here, classical example of the nose starting from the end of the face. You see how the nostrils, they're not going inside the face like they should be. And then the mouth is starting from the middle of the width of the nose here. It's immediately starting and then the mouth is down. Also the mouth is a little bit protruded, the nose is too big, but whatever. But the head, you see, the head shape is like a ball. It's not shaped like a skull. It's like a ball. Although the ears, he had put some little work on the ears, so they are more developed than most. Here, again, classical mistake of the nose starting from the end of the face. You don't have the muzzle of the mouth right. Because the muzzle of the mouth, since it's a horse-shaped, will make sure that your nose is staying on top of the muzzle and the nostrils are inside the face and the muzzle is protruding forward a little bit here, and it will go up to here. If I draw it, let me show you. If I show it like this, if it comes here, it will be much better. But of course we cannot exactly tell, because it's difficult to imagine it, but it definitely will be better if it's like this. If it starts from here, the middle of this distance, around the middle, maybe a little bit more back, but still not from here, you know. So classical mistake. Okay, next, the ear kind of developed. It's okay, better than most, but the head itself, too much of a ball shape and also too big. This is too big. I mean, this seems like you have a normal person with something like a swimming hat full with hair or full with something, maybe full with water. So that's why it doesn't look super cool. And also from the front we see that the forehead here around the eye, it's very flat. Because of the lighting we see that it's very flat, and it's you know, it's too wide. Probably it's too wide. It's not good. And also the nostril above, the nose above the nostrils is too narrow, as we see it here. So this is one of those mistakes. Here we see the lips too much protruding forward. We see the ball shape of the skull. It's not super bad here. The ears are kind of cool. The neck is not very well shaped. And here we see classical, you know, that if we look this head from above, we will see the same width here as here. Absolutely the same. There will be no difference of the width, which is a mistake. Also, the eyeballs look a little bit too big, probably. and there are other mistakes, of course, but we are looking for our mistakes here. So in here, I don't know what I've seen. This is relatively fine. Again, maybe the forehead is a little bit too flat and a little bit too wide, and the neck muscles are a little bit too pronounced. We have to be careful with them. And the nostrils also too pronounced. We have to also be careful. So here we see an example of the head is not bowl shaped, but more like square shaped, which also is kind of awkward. We have to look for references for other people's arts. Also, many things are not developed well enough. So this, in this position, you never show your model. You have to work more and develop it a little bit more. But other than that, there are things that are okay. But for example, I've watched in ArtStation, and I've searched for nice models, and I've found some very nice models from which we can learn. Of course, you have to know the shape of the head, the basic planes. It's very nice to know them. You have to research about the skull. And all of this, by the way, I plan to make a big course about this, starting from a skull, making this kind of skull, then from scratch making a normal skull, then from scratch making a head with planes over the skull, just like this, then from scratch making another head. Everything is practice, and if you practice with me in this course, I haven't started it yet, I admit, I will think about it a little bit more, but this will be a course where I will show you all the basic things that you need to know to make a face. Of course, again, the 10 mistakes are head not egg-shaped from the top, like this, not egg-shaped. And I will show you again what will happen if it's not egg-shaped. If it's like this, you see, it's not very nice. So, make it egg-shaped, it's for the best. Head shaped like a ball. If it's shaped more like a ball, it could work, but I think it's more interesting if it has kind of a skull shape with kind of a aerodynamic form, especially for the male, and then a little bit of a flat area, then a little bit of a flat area here in the back, and all the jazz, as you can see here. So forehead and flat area, flat area, flat area, stuff like this. This will be, I think, your best bet. Of course, you can check out some skulls of MMA artists and everything, but if you want to learn, you will always find something. But MMA guys are very good point of reference. Okay, nose from profile starts from the end of the face. Let's try to do it. Let's try to do this. Yeah, doesn't look quite right. There are people like this, I'm almost sure, but it's not looking good. Most of the time, it's like this. The nose is in. The other neck muscles either non-existent or somehow too pronounced. Too pronounced. It could work, but I don't think so. Non-existent, I will not smooth them now. Lips protruding too much from the face, of course. Very common mistake. Yes, it's not exactly like this, but something like this. Not enough volume around the corners of the mouth. Yeah, I'm deleting the volume here. And it's looking awkward. You know, it's not very nice. So, put the volume there, just put it here, and you will be better. Undeveloped ears. Yeah, if we don't put a little bit more attention to the ears, make sure they look fine, look for references, look for your own pictures or something. I will push them even more in the face because it's more appropriate. You know, just give them some love. Give the ears some love. It will be nice. Thank you. Thank you. And too big eyeballs. Of course, if you make the eyeballs too big, everything here around the eye area will be bad. Let me show you how big should be the eyeball, by the way. So this is the eyeball. Let's make it this big. No. Scale it more. Okay, this big. You can say that this big eyeball is kind of fine, although I will make it a little bit smaller. So this probably, yeah, even smaller. So yeah, this big. This is mostly the size of the eyeball, and I have a completely separate video about the size of the eyeball where I explain how big is it. It's 2.5 centimeters, around that in the diameter. So yeah, you can check out this video. I think if you are willing to kind of spend the time, the video is around 20-25 minutes, I think it will be very useful. There is no such video in the internet, I think, like this one. That's why I made it, because there was no such video. And it's pretty interesting. So let's select our model and just push the eye inside like this. So this eyeball is okay. And the last mistake is too thin eyelets. So make them thick. Make them pretty thick. Don't try to make them very thin. It's not gonna look correct. I mean, in the 3D we have to make them at least twice as thick as the real world, so it will look fine. Yeah, some things in the 3D are not like the real world to look good. If you make them like real world, the thickness of clothes has to be bigger, the thickness of eyelets, the thickness of everything has to be bigger in the 3D, especially for games. Maybe if you do something for cinematic or something for very close-up shots on it, maybe then, yeah. But most of the time, I have never encountered time that I have to do very thin eyelets, for example. Never. I always do them very thick. Like you see, now they are pretty thick. Eyelets. This thickness here. Okay, so that's it. That's are the 10 most common mistakes that I've seen. Hopefully, you will be able to fix your own heads, not your own heads. Don't try to fix your own heads. You are what you are. But the heads that you are modeling, probably you will be able to fix them with these tips in hand. If you have to, you can watch the video again, of course, and again and again. And when I release my full course of head modeling, basics of head modeling, I don't know how I will call the course, but it will be making a skull, couple of skulls, couple of heads, maybe male and female head too. I haven't thought about it yet completely, that's why I haven't started it. But it's, yeah, something like this. So, see you in here and also in my new channel, SpeedChar Live, where I will do lives as much as possible. Not every day, but every week at least, probably I will try to do it. Since I'm not employed anymore, full time, I can do this without too much of a trouble. Okay, bye for now. See you guys.